everyone, and welcome to 12 News in Focus. Every week, we take a look back at some of the great stories brought to you from our 12 News journalists. On today's show, exploring the hidden beauty of Havasupai and cracking down on illegal vape sales to kids and teens. But first, a disabled pilot's custom airplane arrives in Mesa.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful!
After thousands of miles on the road, this one-of-a-kind airplane is finally where it's supposed to be.
It's here, it's home. You know, for a while there we had the wings and the propeller, and now we have the whole fuselage.
Jessica Cox is the world's first licensed pilot without arms. For the past 17 years, she's flown a 1946 Ercoupe entirely with her feet. But that plane has limited how far she can travel and how many people her nonprofit can reach. Now, volunteers have transported her new custom-built Impossible airplane more than 2,000 miles, from New Jersey to Falcon Field in Mesa, where final assembly is already underway.
Before we know it, it will be in the sky.
Pilot Joe Getz volunteered his own hangar and will be among a group of volunteers putting this plane together.
We'll get the wings installed and the tail and everything together so it'll look like an airplane, and then a couple weeks later, after we check everything out, there's like 35 people working on it, so we're going to have to look over everything very, very closely by the print, make sure it's done right, and something we'd fly in.
The aircraft has custom controls designed specifically so Cox can fly from the left seat using only her feet.
We're calling it the flying foot. It's essentially like a shoe slipper, a slipper that I slide my left foot into, and I'm able to control the yoke with that slipper. This plane is going to be basically to convey that message that disability doesn't mean inability.
Before Cox can take off, the airplane must pass inspections and receive FAA approval. Cox will also have to complete transition training with a flight instructor.
We need to get to places around the country and around the world, to all these children who are born missing arms or born missing limbs, and to be able to get the message out there that if I can fly a plane with my feet, there's nothing that should hold anyone back.
In Mesa, Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
When we first spoke with Jose Cuellar,
the wind started getting harder and harder, and it just decided to flip me over.
He shared the scary moments of how his semi flipped onto its side during Sunday night's monsoon.
I was looking up through the windshield, and I was just seeing people going past me, and I was like, man, what do I do, you know?
One person, though, stopped. A man who Cuellar says was his angel that night.
Even though the weather was so bad that night, he was willing to help me, you know, for him to risk his life, you know.
I looked in the window, but I couldn't see nothing at first, and then I heard him talk.
That man was Rafael de la Torre.
I just feel like it's the right thing to do.
A 21-year-old who believes he was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, there's this thing that says it's always on God's timing, so that's what I believe.
Rafael says he was driving on the 10
I was just more fascinated by the storm.
when he saw the semi.
I go around, I think 2 or 3 cars, because they were stopped, and I could still see. And then I just seen a truck, like, didn't look right, and then I looked good, and then I saw it was sideways, so I got out the car and I went over there.
He heard Cuellar and says he pulled off the windshield to get him out.
I believe in God and all that stuff, so I think it's all his timing and all that. So, like, it didn't cut me at all. Like, I didn't have glass in my hands at all, and then, so it was really him protecting the both of us.
His actions, he says, are not that of a hero, but of someone who just wanted to help. Why did you get out of the car?
I don't know, habit, I guess, the right thing to do. I just felt like it in the moment, like nobody was stopping, so just stopped.
With the two planning to reunite soon, these two strangers now connected by an act of kindness when kindness was needed most. Jay Cunningham, 12 News.
Now at the other end of the campground is Mooney Falls, a breathtaking waterfall that's nearly twice the size of Havasu Falls. But there's one caveat to get down. In order to do that, we have to go down caves, yes, caves, and also a huge ladder.
So be sure to bring your hiking gloves with some grip.
Getting down and getting back up will always be slippery, so yes, it can be a little intimidating, so be careful. Oh, good job, babe. Glove 5. But the adventure doesn't stop there. We want to make it to Beaver Falls, which is 3 miles after Mooney Falls. Just know in order to get there, you'll have to cross multiple rivers. Some even get up to your belly button. A little deep over here, babe. We're down in the Grand Canyon, but it feels like we've gone through a jungle. Just know that you might have to climb some ladders and even do a little bit of bouldering. I recommend bringing hiking shoes that you are okay to get wet and swim with. If you bring water shoes, it's just gonna take a lot of time to switch back and forth. Then after 3 miles, we made it to one of the most picturesque places I've ever been to. Beaver Falls. You can swim in any of the swimming holes that you see, and if you go early enough, you might just get it all to yourself.
Coming up, tackling the difficult decisions school districts face with teacher retention.
Raising salaries came at a cost. Schools were shut down, but where those doors closed, community partnerships also opened new ones, helping support teachers to continue to grow their own paychecks, ultimately investing right back in the people, shaping the community leaders of tomorrow.
You want it to be rewarding in a way that carries on the next generation of educators.
Phoenix Elementary School District Number 1 offers a rich history lesson, teaching kids before Arizona was a state. But a few years ago, ensuring the district had a strong future presented a major math problem. Declining enrollment, a budget shortfall, and a lot of turnover. That's what Superintendent Deborah Gonzalez walked into.
We became very intentional right away about making sure that we're shoring up our financial house so that we can make sure that the academic house is able to stay strong.
Her first fix, teacher retention rates, flipping it from the 70s to 95% teacher retention. That started with improving paychecks.
We're securing the funds using our classroom site funds to be able to add to teacher salaries. And every time we add to teacher salaries, then we have to figure out how do we do a commensurate amount to non-teachers.
Finding that money meant making tough choices.
We had to make some really tough decisions. Closing 2 schools, it was not a popular decision. It never is. It's heartbreaking. But at the same time, that has allowed us to be able to do some really impactful things in terms of keeping our teachers.
But the piece that really sets them apart, growing better teachers and in turn helping teachers grow their own paycheck. Earning a national board certification comes with a pay bump. The district adds a stipend to that. But it's a rigorous program done on your own time based on your own classroom outcomes. So this district built a 3-year program that prepares new teachers from day 1 to earn national honors.
Whether you're new to our district or new to the profession, in the first 3 years, we help provide support for you with content, with classroom management, so that by the time you finish in year 3, you're ready to start submitting your evidence of your plan work and your coursework that you've already been doing and the success you're experiencing academically with your students so that you're able to begin that process and be successful in getting national board certification.
Gonzalez says the district still relies on voter-approved funding too, but she says community partnerships provide options the ballot box alone can't. Educator Support Network, AZ K-12 Center, helps with grants for the national credentials. Another partnership helps find teachers affordable housing downtown. Nonprofit Valley Leadership supplies trained substitutes so teachers can leave the classroom for their own training without losing instructional time.
That's a fee we would have to pay anyway.
It may be the oldest district in Arizona, but staying relevant to teachers and families is how they ensure longevity.
We have such a rich legacy, and we've got to work to make sure that everything we're doing is preserving that heritage, but also looking to the future.
Her best advice for other districts trying to solve the Rubik's Cube of teacher retention: talk to the teachers. What would attract them? What would keep them? And then bring in the community. Get stakeholder input. Ask who can help meet the challenges you're facing. It's another way to bring the community into your school, build the buy-in, and strengthen the response at the ballot box. That's part 4 of Tackling Teacher Retention. You can see all the stories in our series, plus some of the other reporters tackling this issue across the state on 12news.com. I'm Nohelani Graf, 12 News.
Here at 12 News, we've been following for years now efforts to crack down on illegal sales of vapes to youth and teens.
Can we ask you why you recommended this to a 16-year-old?
Youth advocates say it remains a major mental health and addiction problem. In our ride-alongs and stories with the last 2 Attorney General's offices, both have said Arizona laws meant to curb youth vaping are lax compared to most states. Now we are seeing key figures in the vape and e-cigarette industries increase their political donations as the state debates vaping policy. 2 vape company owners, a vape trade association, and a few donors affiliated with the industry are contributing several $100,000 into state campaigns this election cycle. Public records show leading the way is John Paul Willett. He leads Red Star Vapor, which has shops now in several states. Records show Willett and a family member have donated at least $170,000 to Republican causes and candidates for mostly legislative offices, and another $100,000 to the Political Action Committee working to elect Republican Warren Peterson for Attorney General, and $18,000 directly to Peterson's campaign. 2 Democrats each received $750 donations as well. Another industry leader, along with a relative, donated at least $50,000 since 2024 to Republican causes, $11,000 to the Peterson PAC. Now, candidates don't decide who donates to their campaigns or PACs. A leader of the American Cancer Society Action Network, working on vaping health issues in Arizona, says he believes in this case candidates benefiting from these contributions should say why they will accept money from these donors.
I want to first make sure to note that we are a nonpartisan organization. Everyone should know that tobacco products are dangerous and addictive. If you want to be associated with that industry, if you're accepting campaign contributions, regardless of if it's the legacy tobacco industry or the newer e-cigarette pouch industry, all of which are intertwined, people should know about it, and it should reflect a little bit on the character of the candidate.
A bill sponsored by Republicans sought to tighten regulations in 2025. Hummel says 40 states have similar laws. The bill died in the Senate. This year, a less aggressive anti-vaping law did pass the legislature and was signed by the governor.
I think the law that passed this year was a little bit of a false promise. There was no additional resources that were put into that. The tobacco industry has learned how to exploit loopholes.
One of these 2 donors did recently explain to the website Regulator Watch why some in his industry are now getting politically involved here in Arizona.
You know, in Arizona, we believe we're a force for good. You know, we're helping Arizonans quit smoking, right? We're doing all of the things to get rid of the bad actors. Myself and John Paul Willett, who owns Red Star Vapor, we hired a really good lobbying team and started meeting with our legislators. We had to show that there's a human face to this and that we are trying to do the right thing.
Habig says he believes Arizona's new law recognizes responsible business practices. Now, I reached out to the 5 candidates who are benefiting most from these donations, specifically to ask them about the American Cancer Society Action Network's concerns. We have yet to receive responses from them. I will put them online, though, if I do get responses back. Joe Dana, 12 News.
And coming up, honoring a Gilbert teen for saving an elderly woman.
It was the moment 14-year-old Royal Cawthron spotted 75-year-old Teresa Morgan walking alone in triple-digit heat.
There's a lot of ants right here.
Royal was out riding his bike when he noticed something was wrong.
Hopefully they don't bite you.
She looked like she was really hot and she was stumbling on the fence, mumbling her words, walking the wrong way.
At first, Royal kept riding, but something made him turn around.
She just looked like she was in need.
I could look it up on my phone if you want me to.
Still 2 miles away from home, so, and it's 108, or it was really hot that day.
Morgan, who had recently been diagnosed with dementia, had become disoriented on her way home.
I don't think there's any apartments around here, I could tell you that.
Royal's smart glasses captured the entire encounter, guiding her to the shade and keeping her calm.
I called her son because she remembered her number. I called her son. And then he came, he called the fire department, and she got checked out.
Fire officials say Royal's instinct to stop may have saved Morgan's life.
It only takes about 30 minutes and 105, 108 for an elderly population to be in real trouble. Their body temperature rises, they get even more confused. This is a great example of a teenage kid saying, I need to do something. Truly saved a life here.
Hang on, I'll look it up.
There are great kids in our community. There's great parents raising great kids. Let's take a minute and celebrate some beautiful stuff.
Rather than walking away, you stay by your side.
Royal's actions have struck a chord far beyond Gilbert, with national outlets including People magazine picking up his story.
It's my honor to give you the key to the city.
Tuesday, the Gilbert mayor and fire and rescue honored Royal during the town council meeting, presenting him with the key to the city and his Citizen Hero Award. Royal tells us he hopes other kids will do the same if they ever find themselves in his shoes.
To help them, like check up on them.
Krisha Hendricks, 12 News.
Yeah, let's focus in on this area. I'm talking about the Loop 101 and 303 corridor in Glendale. You got Glendale all the way over here, then the 101, and then in this area, just east of Luke Air Force Base, that is where we're seeing a lot of growth happening. So for other cities in the West Valley, like Glendale, Surprise, Peoria, Avondale, and more, this is creating a lot of opportunity for growth. Now, I spoke with the City of Glendale's Economic Development Director, Dan Henderson, to see how specifically this West Valley city is expanding.
Yeah, I think we're very responsive, very customer focused.
Dan Henderson has only spent a few months as the City of Glendale's Economic Development Director, an exciting hire for the city after he spent nearly 2 decades doing the same for Gilbert.
What I wanted to bring is some alignment with strategy, as well as some leadership in the Economic Development Office to guide some of that investment and some of that demand that we're seeing in the West Valley.
The City of Glendale has recently invested $30 million in its section of the Loop 303 and 101 corridors, with an additional 5 million square feet under development.
We're seeing a tremendous amount of interest in our stadium district and entertainment area.
Downtown Glendale is seeing a major resurgence led by a $100 million municipal facility investment.
From an investment standpoint, we've seen a lot of expansion and demand in industrial, logistics, and supply chain.
What's also helping drive the growth is Live Away Suites, a modern extended stay hotel. It held its ribbon cutting in mid-July, offering a better living situation for an essential workforce who live in the area for weeks or even months.
One of the key guest profiles we try to target is military and government. Couldn't be much closer to Luke Air Force Base. The hospital system here is amazing. Our suites are built to accommodate that type of workforce.
5 Live Away Suites are here in the state, more than any other in the country.
So this is our self-check-in, check-out kiosk. So guests that don't want to check in at the front desk, or perhaps there's a line, they can come out here and do everything, including payment, that they could do at the front desk themselves.
Bigger rooms, smart laundry, safe package drop-off, and self-check-ins.
When they have downtime, they're going to movies or other entertainment venues. They're dining in the Glendale area. They're shopping in the Glendale area.
Now for the future, Dan says he sees more investment around the 303 and 101 and how to strategize to bring more businesses in the stadium and entertainment districts along with redeveloping downtown. We're here in the studio. Troy Lynch, 12 News.
Proud to introduce my running mate, former Mesa Mayor John Giles.
Fresh off their official announcement, Governor Katie Hobbs and former Mesa Mayor John Giles sat down to talk about politics and the future of Arizona. We first talked with the governor about her decision to pick a former Republican as her running mate.
For both of us, we share the belief that leadership is about delivering for the people you represent and bringing people together to do that. And so I'm really excited that he's on the ticket.
This is a good working relationship. We're not, this is not a blind date. You know, we know each other well and we're very comfortable. And so I was extremely excited to accept the invitation.
One of the biggest questions was why Giles, a lifelong Republican, left the party.
I felt like I was on a crusade for the last few years trying to save the soul of the Republican Party and finally came to the conclusion that it was time to move on and focus my energies in other places. So yeah, I still identify with limited government, with being fiscally conservative. But the Republican Party, you know, it's kind of a trite, but the Republican Party left me.
In a world of polarizing politics, the two are now challenged to bring voters together and convince independent voters in the state they're the right candidate. Giles gave credit for the governor for trying.
Kudos to the governor. We've got to try. You know, we can't just go into our corners, or we can't just continue to escalate the animosity. This woman brings the heart of a social worker to the governor's office. It's very, very collaborative.
This is the first time Arizona has had a lieutenant governor. Voters approved creating the position back in 2022. Giles says if elected, he sees his main role in helping the governor get things done.
So there's more to do, tackling our water security, making sure we're not taking our eye off the ball on border security and going after the drug traffickers, making sure we're investing in public education. And we have a huge opportunity still to pass an extension to Prop 123, invest millions of dollars in our classrooms without raising taxes. Those are all second-term priorities.
In Phoenix, Justin Pizzera, 12 News.
Thanks everyone for watching, and just a reminder that new episodes of 12 News in Focus premiere every Friday on the 12 News app. You can also watch past episodes. It's simple, just download the 12 News app for your TV devices and you can watch for free. I'm Kariba Devine. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend.